What's going on, everyone? While the market was a little bit boring and choppy today, I promise you we are set for a very exciting week. We have crucial inflation data set to release tomorrow right before open. We have another government shutdown looming that can happen very soon. On top of that, we have more exciting earnings. We have bank lending falling for the first time since 2012. And while all this is happening, the market is at a crucial point. This week's going to be an exciting one, and there will be a whole bunch of opportunities. So, Tom, let's get right into today's episode.
Yeah, Mike, the overall market did pretty good again today. Now, it didn't do great. It actually fell down a little bit at market open, but you can see it had a nice run to the upside, and it hit right around that high of Friday, very close to 441, and we had a ton of consolidation there and a lot of hits. And as you zoom out on the market, it's in one of those situations where, of course, the past 2 months, the market started to really run back to the upside. But whenever you go to that daily chart and you zoom out, you can see that we're kind of in that midpoint of the overall move this year. Somewhere right around like 440 to 442. So I'm watching the market and I'm like, wow, we're breaking out of this channel and we're continuing up. So it's really hard for me to go short here. But I feel like that we're at that point where the market is just too overextended. And tomorrow morning is going to be crazy. Because like you said, Mike, we are at a big point on the SPY. If this is a true breakout and we start running to the upside tomorrow on this inflation news, the market could go crazy. And it looks like they're actually expecting inflation to drop. So 1 hour before the market opens at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, we're going to get the core inflation rate, the CPI numbers, and the inflation rate year over year. So they're expecting that overall inflation rate year over year to come down a little bit. And if it does come down to 3.3% like they're expecting, I would expect the market to like that. And this uptrend might surprise everybody and continue.
Yeah, so looking at the chart right there, we can see that over the past couple of months, inflation data has been slowly ticking higher on a year-over-year basis. The most recent data point came in at 3.7% year-over-year. Right now, everyone is expecting the data tomorrow to come in at 3.3% year-over-year. If it comes in around there, or ideally a little bit lower, that's a pretty decent sign for the market. However, if it comes in higher, that can be very bad, and it could throw a wrench in the market very quickly, right? As long as the inflation data comes in close to that 3.3% estimate, it should be all good, but just keep a very close eye on the market and just the news tomorrow, 1 hour before open, because in the past, these events have brought in a ton of volatility.
Yeah, they've brought in a lot. And, if the market does end up going down tomorrow, there's a lot of ways to play it, right? Like you might look at puts on the SPY, you look at puts on QQQ. You could also maybe look at UVXY. If there's a lot of increased volatility, I would expect UVXY to go insane. This thing usually has some pretty good runs. So if the market does start falling, that would be the way to go. I'll be honest though, Mike, the way the market's moving and the way it's starting to break out of some of these channels and it's trending up, it seems like it's like a nonstop freight train, but we all know how important those inflation numbers are, so definitely be on the lookout for that. And of course, I wanted to go over the earnings for tomorrow as well, I guess, while we're on, the news for tomorrow. So we have Home Depot and Sea Limited before open. In after hours tomorrow, not really too much. Mainly the rest of the week for earnings will be bigger with Target, Walmart, Alibaba, and those stocks.
Great stuff. Well, another pretty important thing that we have to cover is this potential government shutdown. So, Tom, we hear about this news every now and then, and it looks like if the government can't come together and make a deal happen, it looks like the government could actually shut down this Friday. It's pretty crazy.
Mike Johnson, man, he just got in there as Speaker of the House, and what does he have to do already now? He has 4 days to get this government to not shut down. So yeah, on Friday, it looks like there's a shutdown looming here, and he's trying to get a plan passed that they're calling Mike Johnson's two-step plan, I guess is what you'd say. And it seems okay, but there's a lot of Republicans that say this one says they're voting no. I would assume that there's a few others, so I don't know. Obviously our Congress is so dysfunctional right now. It seems like no wonder we're getting downgrades by Moody's, right?
True. So yeah, keep a close eye on this. This is just another key risk to watch out for. But I came across something today that was a little bit worrying, and that has to do with bank lending. So we all know the big powerhouse banks and how they love to lend everyone money, right? What's pretty crazy is that bank lending on a year-over-year basis is not only decreasing since the first time since 2012, but it is dropping at a pace like quicker than like any other time in history. So basically what this is telling us is like banks are just not really lending that much, as much money as they used to. You know what I mean? They're actually decreasing how much they're lending, and this will have a ripple effect onto the entire economy and makes money and just liquidity and working capital harder to get, and it just squeezes everything. So this is just something I found very interesting, and I think it's a lot more important than a lot of people think.
Man, no wonder lending's going down. I mean, I don't want to get loans at like 7% and, have these interest rates on 30-year mortgages the way they are. And I get it. I totally, this makes a lot of sense that lending would go down with yields being so high the way that they are, just pushing rates up across the board on just about everything. So, hell, it's like 10% to buy a car now, even on a car loan. So it's rough out there, Mike. And, if we go look at some bank stocks, it's been rough for them. I know that they've been starting to come back the past couple of weeks, but on a year-over-year basis, again, the past 2 years have been extremely terrible.
No doubt about that. So just keep this in mind as well going forward. But Tom, in addition to the inflation data tomorrow, we also have some pretty exciting news with Disney and Penn National Gaming. Tell us more.
Yeah, this is big. So ESPN Bet is set to release tomorrow, November 14th, and this is going to be their logo. ESPN Bet, it's awesome, right? I'm a big fan of ESPN. If you guys like ESPN and you hope that Disney and Penn benefits from this, let me know in the comments, because I'll say this, I've been picking up some Penn shares, Disney shares low, and if they end up doing well, that'll be awesome. And I love this. I found this awesome article where Penn's CEO actually talked about how ESPN almost had to launch sports betting to keep their customers. I think it's actually a great move by Disney and by ESPN to get this done with Penn, because, imagine people are leaving their website or their platform and going to like DraftKings. You can even see the sports scores and everything on DraftKings too. So, what's the point in even using ESPN anymore then? So I love this, Mike. I think it should be great for them. And Tuesday, November 14th is the launch date. So be ready tomorrow. It's going to be a fun day. I can't even use it in my state, sadly, but if you can, kudos to you.
There we go. So there are two main stocks to watch for this. The first one is Disney, so ticker symbol DIS. They obviously own ESPN, and they actually just reported earnings as well, and they're looking pretty decent, so keep a very close eye on Disney. But the other stock is Penn, Penn. Basically, they are going to be handling like all the back-end stuff with the ESPN bet, and they also have a lot to gain, and they're also at a decent level, so keep a close eye on these two.
Yeah, Penn's going to be a fun one, Mike. Like, Disney's a pretty established stock. I mean, it can move up. It'll probably have some good volatility on this, right? But with Penn being like the lower priced, I would say more volatile stock throughout history, I would definitely hope that Penn has a crazy move. You never know sometimes with these crazy events. Like, if it pops off, we don't know how much it could help Penn truly, but I would guess it's going to help him more than Portnoy did with Barstool.
True that. All right, Tom, well, let's start getting into the exciting stuff for tomorrow, which are some setups and predictions. And coincidentally, my first stock is actually Disney, and it is to the upside. Of course, the news tomorrow is pretty good, but also they've been having a pretty good run after their earnings release last week, and I think there is potential for an earnings continuation with this one to the upside. It's very oversold still, and it's finally starting to get some of that bullish buying pressure to come in that this stock sadly hasn't seen in a very long time.
Man, when you zoom out on Disney's chart, it looks like Zoom or something. It's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, and this isn't even like considered a growth stock. So it might be now, I don't know, but I'm looking at Disney here. I love it with the news, Mike, and we had that big money play come in yesterday. So wink, wink, be ready for the big money play tonight too. But with my first, I'm going with Citigroup again. I know I talked about this one yesterday. The banks, I know we talked about the bad news with lending. Keep in mind though, yields are starting to fall down a little bit now, so that's been positive positive for banks. Right now, Citi had a great break today of that 42.50 area that we talked about yesterday. So for tomorrow, if they could break above $43, just above the high of day today, I'll look for a continuation. It's nice to see these banks finally coming back.
There we go. Tom, I can't believe it, but you're not holding back today. You're saying Disney's looking like Zoom. That's like one of the biggest stock roasts I've heard in a while. Like, you look at Zoom's chart and that thing is just nasty. But yeah, Disney's definitely had a rough couple years as well.
Yeah, I know. It's not quite as bad, but yeah, I had to give him some type of roast, right? I love Disney right here, but man, I'll say this. The past year and a half have been pretty brutal.
No doubt. All right, well, another stock I'm watching pretty closely is GLD. Essentially, this follows gold prices, and with everything we've seen over the past couple weeks, whether it is the increased tensions around the world between Ukraine and Russia and Israel and Palestine, as well as the Moody's negative outlook, as well as the potential government shutdown, as well as just the health of the U.S. economy overall, there is a lot of fear creeping into the economy. And when people are scared, they buy things that they bought for thousands of years, like gold and silver. GLD has moved to the upside pretty well over the past month or so, and it's at a spot where like it pulled back a good amount, where it's like at like a decent level. So I will be watching this one pretty closely to the upside. If the inflation data comes in whack, this can also add some unexpected buying pressure into this stock as well. So just keep a close eye on it for tomorrow. I'm watching it to the upside.
Yeah, and you know what was kind of nice today is the SPY actually went up a little bit, and while it was rising, gold was popping up too. So even if the market does run, maybe there'll still be that fear that people are still scared for like the next couple months. So it'll be interesting with gold. I hope that it keeps going. With my next play, I'm going with Penn, of course. I just have to. With ESPN Bet launching tomorrow, you got to go with it. Just keep it on the radar. It doesn't mean to just run into it and buy calls. You're going to have to be very adaptable with this. If you start to see some good momentum early on, then following that might be key. It honestly closed pretty bad today, I'd say, for people anticipating the launch, but I think once the launch comes, it might be a little bit different.
All righty, sounds good. Well, let's get right into the momentum plays then, and with the first one, we have Apple to the downside.
Man, Mike, I was looking at Apple yesterday and I was like, wow, it's really going. I can't believe we're playing it down. It actually did very well to the downside today at market open. And honestly, it closed pretty damn low. So if it breaks under 184.20, watch it down again tomorrow. I think there's a lot of potential with this one.
All right, sounds good. With the next one, we have Tesla to the upside.
TSLA. They had a great move, kind of the opposite of Apple, which is funny, but they hit right off of 225. So if they're able to get back above that resistance, then look at some calls.
All right, and now with the next one, we have NVIDIA for both directions.
Yeah, this was a fun one. They came out with some new graphics cards, the H200, which is like a big commercial card. So if they break above 491, look for a continuation up. I wouldn't be surprised if they break under, though, 484, then look at puts.
All right, so we have the downside level for puts, and we have the upside level for calls for NVIDIA. Don't forget about Tesla and Apple as well. We have the upside level for Tesla, and we have the downside level for Apple. These plays are only plays if they break the levels Tom listed. If they don't break, then find a new play. These are momentum trades, and they should be day trades only. So keep that in mind. But we also have a pretty exciting big money trade today, and it is with Disney yet again. So, Tom, I think this might be the first time in history that we've had a big money play back-to-back with the same ticker symbol. So, literally in yesterday's video, we saw the big money buy around $1.2 million worth of some Disney call debit spreads. Again, we have the big money striking with some more calls. Basically, the big money bought $930,000 worth of the Disney 115 strike call options that expire way out. We're talking about January 16th of 2026. So these plays have a ton of time to them. It's more of like a longer term setup, obviously, but I think the big money is looking at Disney right now. and saying, you know what, this is one of the largest drawdowns in history, and they're just buying the dip and they're just holding, which isn't a bad strategy. And I think the setup's good as long as you're willing to give it time. Like, if you're someone who wants to follow this big money trade, but jump ship a week later, then this one isn't for you.
Yeah, it's really not. Like, it could easily imagine if ESPN Bet has a fail or a bad launch or something, maybe falls back down pretty hard. You got to be ready for that. And I think that the long-term game on this one is definitely what you got to hit on there, because it's a January 2026 expiration. It's a far one, so just be willing to stick with it. But if you're willing, the cool thing about it is at least it's like the 115 strike. It's not like the 90 strike or something, so they are making it a little bit cheaper. And I'm guessing that they're doing that because there's so much time to this that 115 from where we are now seems like a long way, but whenever you zoom out, it's honestly like a quarter of the move back up to highs. So I like that strike actually, just for the cheapness, but it is a little bit far out for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's also so much time to it as well. It's just crazy to think about an option that expires in January of 2026. So this thing will be around for a while.
Yeah, exactly. And, Disney will also be around for a while, right? Like, everybody's out here giving Disney such a hard time lately. I get it. They had the bad politics. People might say they're going to go bankrupt. Look, guys, Disney has been around for a long time. It'll take a long time for them to go bankrupt. It won't be something overnight. So I'll be watching them. Iger took back over. I think he's making the company better. And, hey, honestly, since he took over, the stock hasn't done too bad.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, Tom, for the next section of the video, I want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Risk Manager. I love this name in Discord. So he did a great job with today's Boeing day trade. Awesome job, and keep up the great work. And I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I love that name. Risk management is the name of the game, and it is such a crucial aspect, and it's such a crucial thing to master when it comes to short-term trading. So love to see it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that play today with Boeing. It was good to see a win on it. I know that that was a pretty quick play. So hey, nice one catching it, and good job overall. But I love the name too, Mike. I mean, whenever I saw the member of the day today, I was like, that's hilarious. No wonder you picked it, Mike. Given risk management's like, I would say, Mike, you're like one of the biggest proponents of risk management out there, and it's needed, right? And I'm glad you're that way. But he's done so much with risk management over the years. I mean, Mike, some of the options that you take just blow my mind.
Yeah, risk management is more important than anything else. You could be trading the best possible setups in the entire market, but it doesn't mean anything if you can't manage your risks. So I'll actually attach a great video in the description and the comments for everyone to check out. It'll be that first link, and it's definitely worth a watch if you want to know how to master risk management. But with everything being said, Tom, we are set for a very exciting week. We have more earnings. We have a lot of events going on. We have inflation data tomorrow. So I think there's going to be a bunch of opportunities. Do you have any final thoughts or anything else that's on your mind going into tomorrow?
Yeah, hopefully these retailers can report some good numbers. Home Depot's tomorrow morning, so that might give us a little bit of like how the housing market's doing, if depending on if people are buying or spending for their house or, etc. So be ready for maybe some news with that. Like you said, Mike, the 1 hour before market open is going to be so key with the inflation data. So be ready for that. It's no joke tomorrow morning. Wake up a little bit early even if you want, because I'm sure Discord will be popping off.
There we go. Last but not least, if you're new to the channel and you like our videos, make sure to subscribe. When you do, you'll see our videos recommended to you more often. We post all the time, and we do hours worth of research to basically let you know everything you need to know about the market in a nice and easy 20 to 25 minute video. And, that's what we focus on. So if you like it, subscribe. You'll hear from us more often. And besides that, let's have an amazing week in the markets.